you look at the miracles that Jesus did, it wasn't something you could kind of fake, like a leg. Last week, we looked at the widow's son from Nain. The dude was dead. The funeral was happening. He stops the parade and brings the guy out of the coffin. He didn't set all that up. Okay, guys, we're going to do this thing on Tuesday. Be there. Right? Guy was dead. Guy was born blind. Read the story, and all of a sudden he can see, and the people, wow. Yes, that's a tough one to fake. Who is this guy? If you don't believe what I'm telling you, at least believe what I'm doing. And so now, fast forward 2,000 years. If he's really God, those miracles, did he just quit? Is he on vacation? So last week, we had you hear Heather's story. The miracle of God stepping in, inviting her to the table even with the loss of a child. And we talked about the other widows who lost their son during Jesus' day and he didn't raise him up. And you go, well, why not? That's a great question. You get to know him and you can ask him. But here's the deal. What he does is he invites you to dinner and says, let's talk about the pain that you're in. Let's talk about that. And Heather said, I will follow him. That is a miracle that I will never forget when he came into my valley and walked me through it. And today we're going to look at another one because he's inviting us to see him. And today, I want you to hear this. He's not only the goat, but he's also glorious. Now, that's not a word you use, glorious. When was the last time you used that word? Oh, it's glorious. This latte is glorious. Right. Okay. Cal Raleigh's play when it hit the front, and but you didn't use that word. You know, what words did we use? Oh man, that was lit. Groovy? What? I don't know what we. Awesome, thank you. Yeah, we use words. You got glorious. And the Bible uses the word glory. And we're going to talk about what in the world is, if he's glorious, we can't really describe it, but we're going to try. Today we're going to look at something that some theologians say is the most profound event that happens in the Bible, which is a pretty amazing statement. It's found in Mark chapter 9 where Jesus takes some of his buddies up to a mountain and they see his glory. See, when you see God's glory, it changes everything. When you see that Jesus is really glorious, it changes everything. You will clear your calendar when you see the glory of God. In Mark chapter 9, it starts out, it says, 6 days later, he takes Peter, James, and John. He leads them up to a high mountain where they were all alone. Now, a lot of times we read the Bible and we just kind of bleep over stuff. Like 6 days later, why did he even put that in there? That's stupid. Just keep reading. I would encourage you to stop and ask the question, why did he put it in there? Because much of the Bible is written chronologically. Sometimes the books are not chronological, but some of the consistent is chronological. And you can find out what happened 6 days before. What's the deal? So turn the page back one page. And in Mark chapter 8, we find out what happened 6 days earlier. Jesus puts out another invitation. He says, if you want to be one of my disciples, you want to follow me. That's what disciple means, a follower. You want to come hang out with me. I invite you. But if you do, here's the deal. You must deny yourself and take up your cross and follow me. Come on. That is one of the reasons why many of us say no to the dinner. I'm not coming. Because if I show up at his dinner, he's going to ask me to do things that I don't want to do. You ever go to those dinners where they say, look, when you get there, you got to use the right fork, you got to use the right knife, you got to use, and there's 7 of them, and you're just like, whatever, and you just, you know what, I'm out. I'm not, it's easier for me not to go than have to go there and do everything that's right, and I'm just, Jesus, thanks for inviting me, but there's some things that I am not willing to die to, which is what it means to take up my cross, to die to something. I like eating the way I like to eat. I like doing it the way I like to do it. And if I have to do it Jesus' way, then I want to keep doing it my way. There's some things, Jesus, that I'd rather you be in the closet. You be in the corner over. There's some things that I get a real lift out of. Shiny, they're nice. And I see this thing is pretty cool. It makes my heart beat a little bit harder. It gives me a little jolt. And Jesus, I got to eat with the fork and it's keep my elbows in. There's some things that I'm addicted to. That I'll have to admit that it's a real addiction. I have to take this addiction and say, I can't break this on my own. And I need help. And I'm not willing to do that. So I ain't coming to dinner. Jesus goes on to say, what good is it for someone to gain the whole world and yet forfeit his soul? I like these little trinkets instead of the dinner I've been invited to. Or he says, what can anyone give in exchange for his soul? Oh, I know, because I have done it. I know you have done it many times too. You've exchanged things that you knew you. Afterward, you look at him and you go, that wasn't worth it. But the problem is you don't go to Jesus, who is more than worth it. You're left again with the emptiness of the not worth it. And so we're drawn back and we forfeit it again and we exchange it again. And he goes on to say, he says, don't be ashamed of me and my message among these unfaithful and sinful people. Can we admit that that's us? We always point out there, those people, those unfaithful and sinful people. It's not a great evangelistic tool, you unfaithful sinner. That's me. If you are, the Son of Man will be ashamed of you when he comes in the glory of his Father. There's the glory again. He's going to show up in a way that you're going to go, oh, stink. I missed. I knew it, but I kept him in the corner. I did. So 6 days after that, he takes Peter, James, and John up the mountain because he's setting them up for his glory. He just says you got to give up everything. To take up your soul, and it's a hard ask. But he's saying, before you let me show you my glory. Let me show you who you're carrying it for. I want you to know me in such a way that you go, that's an easy trade. And that's the problem for many of us. It's not an easy trade. It's like, I don't know. Many of you grew up in Sunday school, catechism, and we tend to forget those lessons that we learned in Sunday school. And then if someone brings them up, you go, oh, yeah. Anybody go to Sunday school and learn about Moses? There's a story where God tells Moses, come up to this mountain. It's found in the book of Exodus. And in Exodus 24, Moses goes up to this mountain, and a cloud covers the mountain. And look what it says, the glory of the Lord settled on that morning. There's that word again, glory. Oh. And it looked like fire was consuming the mountain. So this bright something's going on. The people down at the bottom of the mountain looking at, whoa. I don't know what to call awesome. Wow, that mountain is lit. Literally lit. Yeah. Whoa. It's consuming. He goes on and says, a voice. Not that one. On the seventh day, Lord comes. Go back one. Do we get the voice? My version says God spoke out of the mountain to the people. There's 6 days of silence on that mountain. On the seventh day, the Lord speaks. Oh yeah, verse 16, the Lord called Moses from within the cloud. Now, 6 days after Jesus says, guys, God's going to reveal my glory. Takes 3 of his buddies up to the mountain. Look what it says. There he was transfigured before him. His clothes became dazzling white. Whiter than anyone. The writer's trying to describe it. He can't describe it. I don't know how to write this, but nobody could bleach it that way. It was so. And there appeared before him Elijah and Moses. Moses had seen this before, and they're talking to Jesus. And Peter and James, no. Finally, Peter, Jesus, Rabbi. I don't know what to call you because Jesus is, Rabbi, it's really cool that we're here. We got to build you guys a house. One for you, one for Elijah. And I like this. Mark the Run who wrote this, and he's actually interviewing Peter to write the book of Mark. And then you see it in parentheses because you can see Mark going, Peter really didn't know what he was talking about. He was so afraid he didn't know what to say. But Peter didn't tell him that. It's a picture of that proverb that says, it's better to keep your mouth silent and appear stupid than open your mouth and remove all doubt. Right? Peter just stood there in incredible awe instead of opening his mouth in the presence of the glory of God. And the cloud appeared and covered them, and a voice, just like it did with Moses, came out of that cloud. This is God. This is my son. Listen to him. Listen to him. He's inviting you to dinner. I got other things. Listen to him. And suddenly when they looked around, they no longer saw anyone, just the 4 of them standing there. Glory. In the Old Testament, when Moses saw the glory of God, the word is kavod in the Hebrew, kavod. And it means weight. Like this cup has weight. It's kavod. What's the kavod? It's weight. How heavy is it? In the New Testament, the word is doxa. It means radiance. It means light. Weight becomes light. You put these together. Jesus doesn't reflect God's glory like Moses did when his face, he is God's glory. Jesus was not standing in the spotlight, some big light from heaven shining. The light was shining out of him. The radiance was out of him. It was bright. It's amazing. The disciples didn't understand it, and they stood there. I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. Many years ago, I had the privilege of being near the Queen of England, probably from me to you, Chris. She walks through the doors of the Westin Hotel, and I'm there with hundreds of other people, and we're yakking and talking and carrying on, and then the doors open, the security comes through, and everyone goes quiet. Hi, Queen. What are you? Maybe that's too out there. Do you remember? You remember when you got married? If you had a typical traditional wedding, I've done hundreds and hundreds of them, so I do this a lot. I'm standing there. I'm the pastor. I'm kind of getting my notes ready. The groom is here, and he's all nervous, doesn't know what to do. And the groomsmen are over here, and they don't know what to put the hands here, but they're yakking, right? And the ladies on this side, they're fixing each other's dresses, and then the door opens. The music changes. And she walks through. And everyone shuts up. And they stand and they turn. Whoa. And she radiates. Just it's this beam that flows out of her. Not because she looks so beautiful, just she's And the groom, he's frightened. What am I doing? I don't deserve this. I don't know what to do with this. Don't say something stupid. Don't say. There's this fear. It wasn't fear like fear of, whoa. They weren't frightened. It's like, I shouldn't be here. But I don't want to leave. And they remembered this. They never forgot this. And they didn't get it then. But it stayed there like a little seed that began to grow. And when Jesus rose from the dead, the Bible says, and they remembered. Throw that verse up there. Remember he told you when he was with you in Galilee? The Son of Man must deliver over sinners. Next slide. On third day be raised again. And in John 12 it says this, only after Jesus was glorified did they understand. Oh, that's what we saw on the mountain. That's what we understood. That's what's been written about him. You see, it's not just old dusty stuff in a book. If any of this stuff is real, then, oh, you've been invited to dinner. And when you see his glory, it changes everything.